So, thank you for being here. We are about to start. It's good to see so many familiar faces, faces I haven't seen in a long while, new faces. Attached to the faces I haven't seen in a long while. Just how you name was all yeah. All right. So I'd like to invite our project coordinator, Josan Sylvester Villafana, to open us with a short word of prayer.
As we go into this book launch and book reading, cover us, guide us, and we thank you for where this book is going to go and what it will do. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. So, we have, I am the host, I am the book reader, everything in one. Alright? So, I would like to again thank you for being here. This is a very momentous and rewarding, fulfilling experience today. Alright? We don't have any copies on sale today. We did one copy because we had to get it out. Right? This I've been writing since in 2018 when I did the mentoring by the master's program. Right? Barbara Jenkins was my supervisor. But the concept of this book began when I was born from a woman called Adele Millington, my grandmother. She always say, your life is a book, write it down. And she was recording everything, the event, the date, everything she was recording, but it got lost when she passed on. So, from basic to masters, the story of Garth and Mtima. If you didn't know, my name was Garth before. This lady in front there. And that is a story in itself. Why she called me Garth. And I just think, when they ask me, what is his name? I just say Garth. You know? All right, yes. Sylvia Edwards, my mom. And I chose them here. So, as you can see, Jordan. Yeah, this one. So we'll go into a short, all right, a kind of little overview.
Welcome everyone. I am Mtima Solwazi. I'm here to share my story. Every story has an beginning. And to share this story, I am here on the Royal Hill, and to be precise, I am here at the newly established Royal Hill Community Playback. Why is the Royal Hill so significant in my story? And why is this landmark so significant to Royal Hill? I was born and I grew up on Royal Hill. And this specific spot is where the legendary cemetery is planted on Royal Hill. And this spot has been a landmark from ever since on Royal Hill. So, I grew up on Royal Hill. And back in those days in the 80s, I was a bit chubby, or like say fat. I was a fat boy, you know. And every fat say that this fat now is sexy fat. You are so funny. But back then I was a fat boy, and like most young people, I had challenges from fitting in or being part of the whole boys club because of my size. So it made that target of what is now called bullying. But back in those days, it was called advantage. So, in essence, I was taken advantage of by some cases those more than me. You know, I remember attending Belmont Government Private School and being the target or the victim of severe bullying, right? Again from both boys and girls. I eventually passed to my first choice, Belmont Boys Secondary School, which is now St. Francis College, and that bullying extended into that school. It was traumatic for me. It was a really hard experience. And matter of fact, when I got my results from common entrance, which is now called SEA, I started to cry when I saw my name in the papers along with other boys of my private school who, in particularly one, he was my main bully. At secondary school, this behavior continued up to Form 3. I remember in particular one day we visited our previous primary school, and at that visit, one boy sat on the ground with a some water in the road, and when he jumped on the road, his pants were sullied, and the other guy started to laugh and said to him, you see the period. I laughed. And I stood there very serious at that church. And that boy turned and watched all the other boys and slapped me. And slapped me. That day I ran home. Mama knew my grandmother told me I was born. And I started to cry, and I started to pray. And I asked God to make me that skin and give me that back. Because in my mind, the only way to approach or to prevent bullying was to be skin, but also importantly to be bad. So I focused all my energy on using my youth, not to exercise, right? But also on trying to become bad. I informed two at my secondary school, two incident stories that changed my life forever, or as I say, that changed my life. One, I was an altercation for a young man, and I retaliated by stopping him in his head with a stick. He also apostate, and the other incident took place out of school with a boy from another school who incidentally was the leader of my best friend, and I struck him with a bottle in his feet. So I busted the next man's face, and those two incidents cool. I am violent where I was not free at that time. Because I busted a man's face from school, and I busted a man's face from another school. Anyway. So, I was naive for the movie to stop. I was not bad. And doing that, I had to assume not that that persona, but that full image, that whole lifestyle. So I started costume. I started smoking marijuana. Right? And eventually, I got involved in the narcotic state at the street level. I was selling crack cocaine and I was selling marijuana. And I think that was what solidified my presence on the street for that apple. You know? That was it. At the same time, it felt good. It felt empowering. It felt liberating. Nobody was really coming around me again. When me was in some circles calling, right? I was selling drugs, I was smoking, I didn't have gang, but I used to meet with a group of friends, so SMB do it gang, right? And together, all of us, we had power, we had strength, I live in the Louis Gardens, in tourist schools of Louis, and there was a gang in Louis, I didn't tell that old men of the university. I supposed myself as an associate of the university because it was my friend who was part of the university. So I knew in Louis I had this associate of friends who belonged and established them. So I had that run. In Belmont, my friends were in from childhood, we had that run. We have friends in Ramati who ran with, we passed together, so I had that run. At that time it felt good, but I'm standing here 32 years later to tell you, don't be good. It is not good. It is not good, one, to do other children. When you feeling forward to do someone, you are actually taking away their ability to just exist. You are taking away their ability to be a you. You are taking away their ability to be a child. You are taking away their ability to enjoy their childhood, to enjoy their education. I don't believe in that dark days. It was traumatic. It was devastating. It affected my ability to socialize with my peers. It affected my ability to focus on my schoolwork. I left school with 3 BaSic O-level CHC subjects. 3 to get that. And with that, I felt as though I'm a failure. So I found my comfort on the street, selling crack and marijuana. Because as I said, that is where I thought I got from revolution and torment from the belief. I attended so well on people. And in a place of despair, in a place of neglect, I found an opportunity. I found a purpose. I began functioning as the Islamic Resource Society in the heart of Port State, in the heart of the madness. I found peace. In the heart of the chaos, I found life. And with that support from Silver and support from the Islamic Resource Society, I must encourage not only to improve my life, but to set myself on a pathway to success. I feel the school, I enrolled myself in the movement Cascadoo, where I did social work. And from there, I went to institution over to the main campus, where I pursued psychology, media, and I minored in criminology and sociology. And today, I am proud to say I am holder of a master's in sociology. What most important is, it is not your beginning, but improving your ending. My beginning is what? I was green, I was focused, I can service, should I say, I can after Cert SW and repeat self-appropriate being bad. But that was not my destiny. My destiny was to use those new experiences and social reality to form my organization, the education, with foundation, which uses spoken poetry and education storytelling as a catalyst for social change by providing safe spaces for young people to express themselves, to discover their own talent, using their unique experiences and their social reality. And at this foundation, we focus on two core tendencies: 7 to 15, 14, vulnerable, in at-risk circumstances, and opportunity, 16 to 75. So, another story, where are they employed, but they want to make a difference in their community. I was good of vulnerable in at-risk circumstances and at opportunity. At Silver, at Islam, to the Islamic University, will be true to become friends in my life. And I am not using my NGO, the organization, this foundation, as this tool, as this avenue to make a difference in the lives of thousands of children, thousands of young people, to boost their schools and across Canada, but we help them and guide them on that pathway to success. Thank you for me to share my story with you.
Thank you. So, I choose to begin with this video so you could understand that whole, what led into a lot of what I do. So, I have decided to coin, people have coined themselves, I have coined myself a visionary artivist, not activist, artivist educator, whose work sits at the intersection of art, activism, and education. And through Roots Foundation, we employ storytelling, spoken word poetry, and activism-based practices to uplift youth and communities impacted by violence and systemic inequality. Through initiatives like Abyssinia Journey of Change, Cascadoo, we're in the Cascadoo week right now, and Roots Cafe Titi, we transform cultural expression into tools for healing, empowerment, and lifelong learning. This memoir illustrates how lived experience can be a foundation for social transformation. So, a little synopsis of this book. It is a gripping and transformative memoir that chronicles the harrowing yet inspiring journey of a young man who defied the odds. The book follows Garth Edwards, who don't know, that was my name before, as I said, Madam Sylvia, a child raised in the heart of Belmont, Port of Spain, Trinidad, who was shaped by love, hardship, and the unforgiving streets. A victim of relentless bullying, Garth's response to violence led him down a dangerous path, one where survival meant joining the ranks of the underworld. His story, however, is not just one of crime, but of profound redemption. And I want us to understand the violence we're seeing outside. A friend of mine last night was telling me, these young people crying out. It's just if we want to listen, right? I didn't choose to join a gang. I was bullied, you know. Sylvia used to say, she and one of my bullies' mother become friends. because every day they're in school dealing with this situation, right? Through the guidance of his maternal grandmother, dedicated mentors, and the intervention of faith, Garth found a new path. The transition from Garth to Mtima Solwazi was not an easy one, but it was necessary. As Mtima, he embraced education, poetry, and social activism, becoming a leader in youth rehabilitation and empowerment. His life now serves as a beacon of hope, proving that even the most entrenched in violence and despair can transform into a force for positive change. This memoir is not just an individual story, it is a call to action. It challenges policymakers, educators, and community leaders to rethink their approaches to vulnerable youth in at-risk circumstances and create environments where transformation is possible. The book brings the reality of the streets into academic discourse and presents a compelling case for intervention, mentorship, and second chances. From basic to masters, the story of Garth and Mtima is more than a memoir. It is a testimony of resilience, transformation, and the enduring power of hope. So, continue. The chapters, we have 8 chapters based on, well, from my perspective, my narrative. Chapter 1, the results. Chapter 2, a culture of badness. Chapter 3, RIP. 4, who am I? 5, oral traditions. 6, Garth meets Mtima, scary experience. Chapter 7, Dr. Solwazi. I do have my doctorate, right? But we speak it in the beginning. And chapter 8, a journey of change. And we have some supporting chapters. I dream of being a drug lord and planting roots were written. There's an interview with Amrita, a report by Robert Stewart. He came down after this year, early this year, and did an interview with me. And then we have reviews, testimonies, and a photo album. So the results, this chapter opens on a pivotal moment with Garth receiving his CXC results, all marked BaSics. Public humiliation and personal shame follow as classmates mock him. Instead of collapsing under the weight of failure, Garth clings to his defiance and adopts badness as his identity. This is the first sign of how shame, masculinity, and identity intersect in his life. A culture of badness describes how badness was glamorized and institutionalized within school and community. Places like the Shed served as a masculine proving grounds where power was earned through fighting and fear. Garth is bullied until he retaliates and earns status through violence. The influence of music, media, and local gang culture is heavily embedded. Ranks his pips through respect, identity, and power, and the price paid in earning and maintaining it. Garth intervenes to protect his best friend Jason, leading to a violent confrontation that elevates his reputation. He gains the attention of criminal figures and is soon recruited into the drug trade. This is Garth's initiation into gang life. Now living between two worlds, drug dealing by necessity, student by choice. Garth struggles with this dual identity. While enrolled at Serval, he begins exploring self-awareness and public speaking. Mentors like Father Jerry Pantin and Mr. Josiah offer new guidance, but Garth still returns to the streets. The chapter ends with him choosing to go back to Serval, beginning his internal journey towards transformation. This chapter shifts to Garth's deep relationship with his grandparents, especially his grandmother, Granny. Through rich oral history and ritual, Garth recalls the values she instilled in him: resilience, compassion, and faith. Her diary, tragically discarded after her death, symbolized his lost legacy. Still, her influence plants the seed for Mtima's eventual transformation. Garth meets Mtima. This long arc captures Garth's rebirth as Mtima. It begins with inner conflicts and moments of prayer. He slowly distances himself from crime, influenced by faith, poetry, and mentors. The transition is not immediate. He relapses, doubts, and struggles with who he is becoming. Still, Mtima emerges from the ashes of Garth, choosing purpose over pain. Mtima's journey's culminates in academic success. He earns a master's degree, a stepping stone for him to adopt the title Dr. Solwazi. This is not a triumph of ego, but of discipline, redemption, and the fulfillment of his grandmother's dream. He defies societal expectations, proving that even those labeled bad can achieve brilliance through faith, study, and service. Now a community leader and founder of the Roots Foundation, Mtima channels his lived experience into spoken word poetry, mentorship, and healing. He reflects on the power of story, service, and spirituality. His scars become his testimony, and his social realities become a tool for social transformation. So, I'm going to do some readings. The photo on the left hand side, your left, is a workbook that we have created out of the memoir. Right? And we're going to read from chapter 1, the results, page 2, paragraphs 1 to 3, page 3, paragraphs 1, 5 sentences in paragraph 2, 2 in paragraph 3, and page 4, paragraph 2. Garth watched as his turn approached, his pulse pounding in his ears. Shuffled forward, his voice barely a mumble as he greeted the teacher. The older man sighed, shaking his head, as if Garth's mere presence confirmed his worst fears. He flipped through the stack of result slips, finally landing on Garth's. Handing it over, he muttered in a brackish tone, "Oh, let's just waste all the parents' time and money, yes? Just sign here." Garth signed and took the paper, and for a moment, it felt like he had vanished. When he stepped back into the corridor, his classmates pounced. "Wait again!" I'm sure all of us experienced that. "Wait again!" The only one to know what the hell again. Before he could answer, an overweight boy with charcoal skin, glistening with perspiration on account of the heat and the excitement of the moment, a black, fat, sweaty boy, but it had to be diplomatic, snatched a slip of paper from his hands and read out aloud his BaSic results for all to hear. Bookkeeping, BaSic 3. English A, BaSic 2. Mathematics, BaSic 3. Principle of Business, BaSic 3. The reaction was instant. A chorus of laughter. It echoed through the school like a cruel symphony, shaking Garth to his core. One boy, in true Trini style, shouted, "Why ain't go and plant them trees?" More laughter erupted. A relentless wave that swallowed him whole. He stood frozen, drowning in humiliation, as if the Piparo's mud volcano had erupted and buried him in shame. Garth snatched the result slips like a thief on Charlotte Street, clenched it tightly, and gave his classmates the look. That silent, unmistakable warning every Caribbean child knew before a cutters. Then with a dramatic flourish, He waved his hands like a panorama arranger, commanding a steel band orchestra, and bellowed, "But I'm more freaking bad than all you." Silence fell. Not a soul stirred. Not a dog barked. In that moment, everyone knew it was the truth. Garth was more bad than them. And this was my experience. As he chugged down Belmont Circular, I don't follow one thing. As he chugged down Belmont Circular Road, the tiny slip of paper felt heavier than a full set of textbooks. He shoved it in his back pocket, as if hiding it could erase the shame. But the laughter still echoed, the words stinging like Moruga scorpion pepper on a fresh wound. But Garth wasn't the type to wallow. As he veered off Piccadilly Street, East Port of Spain, behind the bridge, where the road split, one path on the left leading down Duncan Street, and all my East Port of Spain people know exactly what I'm talking about, to the block, the other path straight across Prince Street, leading to Charlotte Street, the Boston shopping center of Port of Spain, now Chinatown. He made his choice. He turned left. So that is just part of the results. And Josan, this chapter sets the emotional and social backdrop for Garth's transformation. It highlights how early failure and ridicule can drive youth towards destructive self-concepts rooted in defiance and survival. So this is a book reading that different than any other book reading you would have attended. Next slide, Joseph. I want to hear from you. Chapter 1 dealt with external expectations. And then the words came, all is just waste all their parents' time and money. Just sign here. How does external expectations shape how we view ourselves? Anybody? I'm sure we have all experienced something, may not be as dramatic as this, but where we have to fulfill other people's expectations of us. How does that make us feel? Anybody? Like failure? What does make us feel? Huh? Pressured. What's that mean? Depressed.
Never good enough.
Never good enough. When you just trying to be you. Josan. The laugh track of fate. Every time I read in this part, I just picture this damn fat boy laughing and pointing, pointing and laughing, but I know I gotta beat you up. Yes, it echoed like a cruel symphony. One boy shouted, "Why ain't go and plant them trees?" How does it feel like to be laughed at for something you cannot change in the moment? Because if I could have changed my school results, I would have changed it. How do you feel to be laughed at, ridiculed about something you have no power over in the moment? Anybody? Helpless. Of course, you must feel helpless. Because you can't change it. I'm more bad than all you. But I'm more bad than Tano Charlie, freaking all you. Silence. Not a dog barked. In that moment, everyone knew it was true. When someone reclaims power through pride and attitude, is it survival or something deeper? Think about that. Because I left school with no passes, but when I tell them, I say, I'm more bad than freaking all here, and they jump. If you know how proud I felt, I say, aha. And I am being honest. When I'm doing this with young people, I just tell them, this is how I walk out of Belmont Boys Secondary. No, I was so proud that I said, yes, I had something on them. They might have the passes, but I know I'm more bad than them. Right? So these are things that, and all of these came from the workbook, right? And there's some of the discussions we'll have with these young people based on this. Yeah, Josan? The left turn. He made his choice. He turned left. Can you remember a defining moment when you made a decision that changed your direction in life? And it could be any decision, And we all have had these experiences. So these could speak to us directly. Yeah, Josan?
It is okay as a man to say, I am weak. To say, I made a mistake. To say, I need help. And once we create that environment in the end zone, it will give these young men an opportunity to move beyond that vulnerable state to become, I'm going to use an abused word, empowered. My name is Mtima Solwazi, and I am a master in the Empower TT program. My goal as an Empower master is to be able to continue engaging these young men and just having the opportunity to be there for them when needed. For me, the main success criteria for the work that Empower TT does in the communities is giving these young men a space to be heard, giving these young men a space to gather. And we speak about safe spaces, but the Empower TT or the end zones are real safe spaces where these young men can express their vulnerabilities. Everyone needs to come on board to support the Empower TT program or programs like this. And why everyone? Because we are all affected by the fallout of crime in our communities. We like to label one group or one race or one gender as the perpetrators or the problem, leave it to the crime situation. But then come on board and let's create an environment, create a platform where we can show these young men, not just by lip service, but hey, we are here to journey with you, to assist you in making that change that you want to make to better your life, which will in turn better our society.
Right, Josan? So, chapter 5, oral traditions. I bet here, I'm going to read it from here. There's a letter I wrote to Granny when I was going to youth camp. They try a lot of stuff, Get me in youth camp, do this, get baptized twice, Yeah, a moon, yeah, real thing, watch me. It was like I was immune to change. So, yeah, I say to Granny, well, I'm gone for a while. I would miss you a lot. I would try my best to behave in camp. And when I come out, I would be a changed person. I would like to say sorry for all the heart. I wasn't sure how to spell ache. All the heartache I ever caused you. Granny, when my 2 years are up, I would like to show you my certificate. So you better stick around. Granny, don't worry about your Sunday lunch. I would send someone for it. I would send someone for it for you. Well, that's all. I don't know when next I would see you again, for it might be a while. For it might be in the next month or two. Well, anyway, take good care of yourself, and I love you, your grandson, Garth. Well, must he make about 6 months in camp? They sent me home. So she saw me sooner than later. Didn't make that 2 years. So, I will leave out the dedication. I'll just go to pages 29 to 31. I have a dedication and I did a poem for Granny. So, from his earliest memories of pre-adolescence, Garth found solace in their home, like grandparents. Night after night, he nestled safely between them, wrapped in their warmth. So I used to sleep between Granny and grandfather, even as a teenager, even selling drugs, between two of them. His cousins called him Granny's boy, a title he embraced to Granny. He was Garty Lou. Now, sharing some information here. So Granny's going to me Garty Lou. This Madam Lady now decided to change it and started to say Lulu. So, and what them don't know, my cousins and even Irvin probably will be a little jealous until me because everything is Granny, God. So these are teasers with the name Garty Lou and Lulu. No, Lulu, Garty Lou. So I was Garty Lou, the grandson she cherished above all. She would have given everything to and for him, and he knew it. Granny kept meticulous record of Garth's life in a diary, documenting everything from the mundane to the most significant. She recorded the time he foolishly shoved a pencil eraser in his ear at preschool, and the day he was bitten by the neighbor's dog after relentlessly teasing it. She noted the scraped knee from his fall on his first day at primary school and every minor or major event that shaped his childhood. The diary was more than just a collection of memories. It was the foundation for his life story. Granny often told him, "Your life is a book. You should write it." Unbeknownst to all, she had already begun his biography. Tragically, when Granny passed away, her diary was discarded along with her other old stuff, erasing those written memories forever. Garth was more than just a grandson to his grandparents. Garth was more than just a grandson, he was his grandparents' caretaker. When his grandfather fell terminally ill from diabetes, Garth managed his catheter and changed his disposable diapers. This was a young man. I don't have girlfriend thing already, eh? So he was like 16 up, right? He empties Granny's chamber pot, Posy, when she could no longer walk to the latrine. He never considered these acts burdensome. Nothing was too much for Granny and Daddy. Each Saturday morning, Granny meticulously prepared a grocery list, detailing the items, the exact prices, the specific shop to buy from, and the expected change. Garth followed the instructions to the letter. So, voices follow this story here. Visiting Gerard, Miss John, Norval, and Byron. That is on, that is East, West, North, and South in Belmont. In the exact order she dictated. Convenience was irrelevant. Her system was law. After a grueling journey down Leon Hill and back, he would finally return only to hear his grandfather's voice calling out, "I just remember something. I need something on the road." Without hesitation, Garth made that trek again. He did so without complaint because it was for Daddy. Even when Garth was caught up in selling drugs on the flats, either corner of Archer and Roslyn Streets, Willis Street, or in the Planins, I was very active. In St. Francis Valley Corner, St. Francis Valley Road, Belmont. He never wavered in his duties. Every night he left the block, rushed up the hill, and made tea for Granny at exactly 7 o'clock. He served her cricks and cheese, tucked her into bed, and then returned to the streets. This was his ritual, a sacred obligation he never missed. Many nights, lying in bed between his grandparents, his grandfather would share oral traditions of the past. Garth listened intently of tales of Abdul. Now, don't judge my grandfather. of Tales of Abdul Malik, Boise Singh, and Mano Benjamin. I feel he used that as horror stories to put me to sleep. Stories of the African warriors who fled the plantation and sought refuge in the hills of Lavantil, which I later, as I got older, found out that was Muhammad Yunus Bath and them. Granny too spun tales from long ago, recounting her memories of Belmont, of Garth's mother Sylvia's childhood growing up in Borsia Lane, and about himself. Granny told him when he was born at 3:50 a.m. on Sunday the 16th of July, 1972, at the Port of Spain General Hospital. She visited later that morning. She recounted that he was this big, fat, 10-pound baby. And when she lifted his little arm, it dropped, boop, and she started to cry. She said the nurse asked, "Is this your first grandchild?" And she replied, "No." The nurse then asked, "So why are you crying?" And Granny replied, "I don't know." She also shared with him a story of a night they were both playing on the bed, and his heavy little hand hit her whadap directly to her eye, and she went to work the following day, and her co-workers rumored that her husband coughed in she eye. But there was one chapter of her life she never spoke of: her own childhood growing up in Barbados, her parents, her siblings. That silence was a story in itself. Garth and Granny did not always see eye to eye. It was a real fight. At times they quarreled over trivial things, but their bond was unbreakable. She was his world and he was hers. Granny never slept until Garth came home. No matter how late, the moment he opened the door, she would ask, "Garth, that is you?" Only after hearing his reassuring, "Yes, Granny," she would say, "Okay, I could sleep now," and drifted into slumber. You know, I never really paid attention to this until I became older as an adult. We just abuse our parents and grandparents, you know. Because sometimes I didn't used to come home. Sometimes sleeping on Archer Street. Or sometimes we used to be very adventurous. Hey, like we sell drugs at 24/7 now. So we literally sell drugs at 24 hours. So then Granny's sleeping then. And that is something you have to pay attention to. Right? She constantly pleaded with him to change his ways. "Boy, don't make the aunts bring any bad news for me," she warned. And when she grew tired, she often lamented, "Boy, you're keeping me back." Bewildered, Garth would ask, "Granny, keeping me back from what?" She would sigh. They don't know fiction thing here, you know. She would sigh and reply, "I want to go," and you wouldn't settle down. Granny always telling me that. Granny passed away in 2004, 16 years after his grandfather's death, on 30th of April, 1988. I blame somebody in this room here. I was always telling her, I say, "You killed my grandmother." I was married more than once. She lived through their marriages, boy. And when I'm married to this particular woman, she said, "Okay, I can dead now." I got married in July, Granny did in October. Josan. So, this chapter is deeply emotional and can help participants connect to family, roots, cultural memory, and the importance of intergenerational wisdom, even when it's disrupted or lost. So, thing Granny does say, "Go Pollock." I know that. Go Pollock. Jabari, wait, no, yeah. I apologize, Jabari. Jaron, you know what I mean? Yes. What in Mitya? One day, Kongote. You hear that make? Te we hat alone. Monkey no? What is joke for schoolboys? Playing dead? Better in mine old clothes. But I need to mind my business. We had to sell these books on them. After one time, how it hang? But she like that one, boy. Spinning top. Don't trouble. Well, I saw Certified Samson do that with our maribond tennis. Monkey no? Mouth open. Cockroach have no right. And it have our next one. Aha! If I wasn't at the wedding. And these are some sayings of Granny. Now, I want to shift gears a bit and hand the mic. I beg. Oh, yeah, your mic already? But still take this. Yeah. I beg this young man to say this poem today. Right? There's a leader. This is Jabari Collins. Jabari came first in our Roots Poetry Slam, and he's one of our, last time, he's one of our Roots Poets ambassadors, Kalina Poets.
All right, good evening, everybody. So, in my family, we live long. So when they say the old people say something, it's some real old people that say it. And like a Sunday morning service, it's real old people singing the same song with 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 3 great-grandparents, about 5 people who all swear they changed my first hair. Switch mics. All right, 1 second.
All right. So, okay, mine.
Don't worry, this part getting cut out, don't worry.
From
the top, you have to, you have no
yeah.
choice. You have no choice. Here you go.
Alright. Though, I can pass it through the button.
You want to?
Yeah, that's a look. If you do it,
Yeah. The ANC none of this, right?
No.
None of this ANC. And then you can see when I switch it back to.
No at all. I can go back and say for the first time,
Alright.
you know?
Yeah, so what you gonna do? You gonna just pretend like this. Yeah, so walk up now.
One, two. When the old people, nice. All right, good evening, everybody. So, in my family, we live long. So when the old people say something, it's some real old people that say it. And like a Sunday morning service, it's real old people singing the same song with 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 3 great-grandparents, about 5 people who all swear to change my first pair of Pampers, and too much cousin to count with everybody be the men I sing when I was small. Needless to say, when it came time to dissuade young minds from dangerous acts like going out to clubs or playing with hearts, at the drop of a dime they had sayings in spades like a game of cards, and I was the jack that all forces tried to hang. Now before you think that those times were few and far apart, remember that every decision or act you could make have a saying to trumpet. When I approach my life with a puffed chest and raised head, I hear how they heard better cock than me crow and still end up in pots. But I try not to let that ruffle my feathers too much. Continue with my same struts, out the yard, into new lands, only to hear about how the grass not always greener on the other side. Like if exploration would mean extinction, sure to have with every exchange rate with the expedition, causing the candle to cost more than the funeral. But I go on. Although go Paul Luck ain't see Paul Luck, I don't need to see Paul Luck to know that fortune favors the bold. And they go allow me for now. Because even them know that MAGA goat have to have a long rope, and watch my size. So they'll give me some time to get some experience under my horns. They just know that I know that happy bird does mess in the nest. So let me take a sec and reset. Remember, I still have to keep my head on my shoulders, cause this head ain't make to wear cap alone. Move with the knowledge of the giants on whose shoulders I stand on. Because they were born at night, not last night. So now I give a little bit more weight to the words they say when they speak. That doesn't mean I'll stop chasing these pipe dreams. I'll just look out for any crapo trying to smoke my pipe before me. Because even a broken clock is right twice a day. Or so the old people will say. Yeah. No problem.
Yes, I heard that people say last I said you're very confident.
See what happens.
That's not what it is. You ain't seeing this.
No, no, this here, not too. I'm not sure. Drop this in your pocket for me.
Yeah, I just know. I know that is a woogie. Yeah, yes, Joseph. So, there's the photo album. This is Granny. You understand? And there's Daddy. Adele Millington, Cecil Waldron. You understand? Let me go again. That is my exam slips. I'll hold on to that. No, I love it. I love it. Next one. This is the shed. Now that building there, it was not so tall, it was shorter. So this is called that building the Colosseum. I have been beaten on many afternoons in that building. Is that one time I play fast? Because there was a better one, hey, $5 and fat boy. I said, what? And I said that because he had braces. So I said, cough him in the mouth, cough him in the mouth. So I started coughing him out, and the mouth started bleed. I win that fight. Who tell me do that? The next day and the other days that ensue, I get licks. This shed, I spoke about this shed on TV at JW today. This is torture. In Belmont Boys Secondary School, Salim Razak, his daughter is here. Salim Razak went to Belmont Boys Secondary School, intermediate. He left this school in 1972. I was born in 1972. And Salim said, yeah. That was in retime too. Right? This shed, and I think it still exists today because it existed in JW time. The baddest fellas in the school could be under the shed. Under. Those who have more ranks than those who are under the shed used to sit on the side arms. And the baddest of the baddest in the school sat on the bench. It took me 3 years to stand beneath that shed. When I busted that fella's face and said, hey, Garth, come, Garth. Welcome me under the shed. I said, what? Hello, hear how dread this is. You see shed boys? So this class of 1988 and 89 came together and formed this big WhatsApp group. All them boys and them, hey, let me create a logo. And they said, they call it Shed Boys. Hello? People leave the group. Because it had fellas who went to Belmont Boys Secondary School for 5 years and never was under that shed. I stood under that shed, rain falling, and men stand up right here. They dare not come under that shed. There was another shed here. And also the imps and the this and they congregate there, not that shed. Teachers couldn't come under that shed. I ain't fooling all here. There we go, Joseph. So when JW saw this photo today, he said, this man wearing Kangol and thing, boy. You know? So this is Garth. I was 16 years old there. I had a hard 16 years old. Right? I was 16 years old there. I'm a child mother. This is Garth again. When I now became Muslim, they're my daughter. Press again, Josan. One press. Oh, go back. Press it too far. Oi. Go back. Take your time. Go back, Josan. Press. One press. Right. One press. Turn now. And this is Mtima, and this is Hadia. Hold on, John, don't press it. This is where I got my name from. A lady gave me the name. It was first Garth and Mtima Solwazi, and we changed to Abdul Ghani. One press. My life is a story. We do a movie. So I send the guy these things. The first damn picture he go send for me is me and Dana. I say, you're trying to make my marriage. I say, make this one do something too, you know? There we go. Next steps. We'll embark on a series of interactive book readings to bring awareness of moving from basic. We have to take our young people from basic to masters. This multi-pronged movement will see the development of the following. We already have the book, right? We just did one print to get this thing started. We'll do other prints. A workbook from struggle to structure, we build futures. An AI movie called Mtima, Rise of the Street Scholar. Go ahead. And this is the biggie. I like acronyms, so don't beat me. We want to have a gangster conference, generating awareness and nurturing growth through solutions, transformation, empowerment, and restoration. We want to save everything. Sagazam seaweed, African black, them big giant African snails. We want to the youth. Why we can't save the youth? So this conference, working for it for next year, please God, inshallah, God's willing, this conference will see us, the workers on the field, as part of the conference, the school social workers, guidance counselors, academia, because they're so far from the reality. We need to bring them closer, but also the young men and women we want to save. We have to stop having all these fancy meetings and discussions and not having the people who we intended to target not involved in it. Because they know what they need to, they know, they just have the tools, right? Josan. So, this is a track from El Schema, I think is his name, featuring our very own. And when I heard this song, I told them, I want this to be the theme for this movement.
And you laugh too. What about before the dancing? Before the dancing? And you feel like you fall short of something. Your life has a battle. Clothes fresh, but it's all tattered and bruised. We barely here before. That place where we feel like we lose the fight, but we don't want them. No matter the circumstance or the background, just hold the feet. Be patient. Then we benefit of your reward. So never forget where we come from. Because it's hard to reach the top, but it's real easy to fall. But every time you fall, remember that voice in your head that tells you keep going. Because you're all great. Just wait until and take your chances. Break free from the norms. You see it one, because if you're not living for you, you want to live for when you get old.
Thank you very much. Bristol? Yeah. Come. This is one of my friends who I grew up with, right? What, like Sylvia used to say, she changed her diaper, his mother changed my diaper, right? And I really happy.
Voices?
Yeah. I'm happy Bristol is here today, right? We do all kind of things together, we fight, we do all kind of things together. They his story too.
You put me in a lot of trouble together.
they his story too, and I really I'm really happy.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Always. You know that, right?
Bristol. So, when you get more, this is just one, right? Because the guy told me, he said, yeah, the guy started, right? Because you can't keep on waiting for wait for the right moment too much. Get it started. So it started, right? This is a little background. The cover concept came from Tupac Shakur book called The Rose That Grew From Concrete. Right? Everybody saw that book, his whole face was on the book. And because it's a story of Garth and Mtima, a duality, the split in it, this is 16 years old, this is this photo here, right? The split in the face come from the movie Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, right? So that was the concept behind. There's a lot of, so much people to thank for this because a lot of persons chip in, right? Sometimes when I finish the book, I send it to somebody, I say, because somebody saw something so unbelievable, I say, tell me if this really happened. Yeah, boy, I was there. You know, and I did about 4. Well, Willassie was one of the editors for this book. My cousin was first, Haley, and then Willassie did the final edit, right? And that final edit, well, you saw this one, there are some changes because I sent it to our partner because I said, boy, could we went to school together, I live in Malone. I said, go through this thing for me. Yeah, next man coming from New York, say, hey, your book real inspiring. I mean, what book? Yeah, so-and-so sent it for me. I said, what? So I will take again. But again, thank you all very much. I say just one copy. So who didn't see it? I think, no. There's someone hug this book, right? Yeah, just take a little look through. But we sent it to a professional publisher, Ian Randall Publishing House out of Jamaica. Right, I was advised to contact them now. I did contact them. They responded and say they like it now. You know, they want to see the manuscript, hoping that they could do the publishing, so and get it out there. I approached a university on the conference, but I feel afraid the name gangster. I go in with the name gangster, right? Because we need to have a gangster conference, right? To engage them young boys and them young girls, right? And stop fooling ourselves. In 6 months, we had 2 SOEs from 2 different governments, and both of them say, gang is the problem. Well, if gang is the problem, it have, we say yes here, Nicola, right? Although everybody know you already comes and after, we say yes, Nicola works with children from, on paper, 5 to 17, in reality, 3 years old, to whenever, right? We have, I know Ziggy from the Mad Jama making a difference, right? And there are some of the people who do any work on the ground. Rosie, right? I know Rosie, about 20, 25 years. We were part of the Trinidad Youth Council when we were much younger, and she could tell her we were bad. We should hold the government accountable, right? We didn't fear them at all. So we need to really save our youth. So again, thank you very much. I see Umar, my brother Kevon here. I'm glad they come. Tanika? No. I can't see so good, boy. Yeah, Ziggy?
Yeah, I can ask that question.
Yeah, of course.
I can ask that question and a suggestion. The suggestion is pre-order.
Yeah, Shadi,
So before we leave,
Shabbat,
the price, ask us how much you think we could pay for it.
Yeah, it's true. Because I had in my head, but true. Yeah. What you all feel a book like this could cost? How much you pay for a book like this? Yeah, I was thinking that same. Yeah, I was thinking that same exact price. Yeah. She's 2. Yeah, I was thinking that same. Right? From when I started to write it back in 2018, I was thinking 2. I said I didn't want to go over 2. You know, because I want you to buy it, right? I don't want people to feel burdensome. So it's just $100 and next $100. You know?
I would also say that, Mtima, before you even set the price, make sure you know your full cost.
Yes, yeah.
Don't rush to give the prices yet.
Yes.
We take pre-orders because we must buy from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the next question is, I listen to when you read the red, right? And I think that part was a really important part for you. How you dealing with the loss of the notes that your grandmother wrote?
You're trying to make me put Sylvia in blast? A tired quarrel with the woman. She said, oh God, we just cleaned up the place, you know? It has happened, yeah. So listen, I did well here. Every time I read in chapter 5, when I home on the computer going over, I always and crying. And this week I say, Mtima, don't play the fool and play with and crying that damn thing, right? So, because many times I'll be sleeping and dreaming either granny or grandfather and crying. Then I peep across to make sure I'm just sleeping, right? So then I would ask her in the morning and say, you hear anything last night? You know, like, there was some kind of song here. I don't know, you hear anything? She said, no, me hear nothing. I said, right, okay, good, no problem. Because I will, and I just use that to gauge what people going through who are surviving violence, who family get killed. Granny dead. Granny get old and granny dead. She clock stop. Grandfather clock stop. And yet still, it's traumatic for me. What about those persons who family that were killed, were murdered, right? My aunt, my cousin was murdered in his house, right? So you could never deal with it, boy, Ziggy. And you know, I was talking to that young man yesterday, telling that people say, you know, I in your shoe. This is kind of dotish thing, but I in your shoes. Well, you could never be in my shoes, you know. And when they come in inside of here, leave your problems by the door, and come for somebody to pick it up, you know. So it has something we have to deal with, and we are hurting society, right? I'm not saying this book is the answer, right? But this book, because yes, Ziggy, right? I done talk to him already when we doing the official launch. They had to act out some of the scenes. Yeah, there's a big fan say, you know, and somebody said, boy, I'm kicking mad on you, boy, right? We are Nicola, we say yes. You cannot work Nicola doing, right? So this book plus, and Arlene Keynes, right? This book plus what, and it's so interesting. When we engaging with the population, we get to realize, wait now, they know Arlene, they know Nicola, right? Because people looking for that salvation, Operation Salvation, that is Arlene's group, right? So with what we doing here, Trevor McMurray, it has so much people doing so much work on the ground for years, right? And Nicola know, we have always saying, because the gang just gang up, you know. So we are gang up too, right? So they're just part of it. To add, I do ever feel roots could never solve the problem. We could add to those and help, right? Minimize, because there's something above our head. You know, we don't give out CPAP contract, right? And they ain't start and knock on Arlene's door yet, right? They come in, you know, because they know her organization is called Operation Salvation, because she has provide that support, and they come in at she because Sister Arlene, my child to go to school next week, and nothing. You understand? They come to their, yeah, they come in, right? They come in. So that thing that we that above our head, but what we could do on the ground, we know. Umar Baliwa in the back there, right? Umar doing football, but guess what Umar said when he was fully engaged with it? Umar going in the school. So how Enrique going in class? And Enrique better have good grades. and better not begin trouble in school because he's not playing football. And Umar ain't done there yet, he going home. Miss Sylvia, I is Umar Baliba, I is Enrique coach. What going on with Enrique home? But Enrique disrespect me. And he did it with Enrique, right? Umar had a store with video games. To come and play video games and then bring a report book. Imagine that. You have to bring. So we doing it, you know. But we have to support each other and we have to get our support coming on too. And that is our next book launch. But you know, I really want to thank you all, right, for being here. I really appreciate the love and support. And you know, this is just the story, what led to it, right? Yeah, thank you very much. Thank Naris, everybody, for the support. So, yeah, Jordan is here, right? And, you know, let's start a pre-record. Let me pre-record. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, you all could go on. Huh? Yeah. Good. Yeah, we have it here. Neil.